Here live in Studio B with your day-to-day BYU Sports play-by-play. I am Spencer Linton alongside the fabulous Austin Colley. And wouldn't you know, you just heard his voice. We're going to bring him in live over Zoom from the Bay Area. Roxy Bernstein is back on BYU Sports Station. It's been too long since we've done this in this format, Roxy. It's great to see you rocking the swag and to have you back on the show.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, Spence.
All right. You just saw BYU in an epic atmosphere at the Marriott Center with a sellout on a Tuesday night, for crying out loud. But BYU needed that crowd to beat a very good Baylor team. As you kind of assess what happened, and we're now a few days removed from it, what to you was the most impressive stat or trend that BYU showed you in that win?
I think it was the offensive rebounds. That BYU had 16 offensive rebounds in that game. Look, they made 14 threes, but we come to expect BYU making threes, right? And if that's their recipe, that's what they're going to do. But 16 offensive rebounds against a very good rebounding team. Baylor's one of the, as far as rebound margin goes, one of the top 20 rebounding teams in the country. And BYU had 16 offensive rebounds, and they kept getting second and third opportunities. That, to me, was the game. That Baylor didn't play poorly. I just thought BYU played, I don't want to say a little bit harder, but they certainly were more opportunistic in that game. And that's what it came down to, was the number of offensive rebounds that BYU had.
Speaking of rebounds, Roxy, and speaking of three-pointers, I know, Ali Khalifa's presence, I think, has been felt every game he's been in, whether it's through assists, rebounding, or just like this last game, coming on pretty early in the three-point game. What have you thought of his performance so far?
He's so fun to watch, Austin, because he's just so different.
Yeah. Right?
You don't see big men. We're seeing more and more big men shoot the three. But Ali Khalifa's passing ability, and his ability to run the and Mark Pope's ability to run the offense through his center at the top of the arc is something that's very challenging, I think, for teams to try to defend. And we saw Baylor struggle with it. And Yves Missi, who is going to go in the first round of the NBA draft coming up in June, he is a tremendous talent and a very good player. But he was in an uncomfortable position because he's not used to stepping out and trying to defend that. And it really posed problems for Baylor. In Missi, we saw a few times, was a little slow to get out. And then you were caught in some mismatches and some switches. And I remember one time, because the Baylor bench is right in front of us, Scott Drew slammed the table in frustration because Baylor was just a little bit tardy on a switch. You can't do that with BYU. You have to be up in their face. You have to go over the ball screens. And if you don't, they're going to make you pay, as BYU made Baylor pay Tuesday night.
Roxy Bernstein of ESPN is on BYU Sports Nation. And Roxy, you've known BYU and followed them and called so many of their games through their West Coast Conference years, and now you've called multiple games with BYU in year one of the Big 12. In your opinion, where has BYU made the biggest improvement in transitioning from the WCC now to the best college basketball conference in America?
Well, the roster has the makeup, Spence, to be in the Big 12. You can see with their athleticism and their size. But I think what makes it, for BYU, their ability to compete at the top of the Big 12, especially with this group, is how unique they are offensively. And what Mark Pope is doing that really is troubling for defenses. You look in the past, and the teams, Dave Rose had excellent teams, and they were so fun to watch. It was a fantastic game to be a part of, but it wasn't this complicated offensively. They would attack, they would shoot threes, but when you had dynamic scorers like they did over the years, whether it was Jimmer, whether it was Hawes, you go on and on and on with the great players that they had. But it was a different feel because of what Mark Pope does offensively with his scheme. And Chris Spatola got into it during the broadcast, and we were talking about it Tuesday night, that all the ball screens and the triple actions that BYU does makes it extremely difficult. And in a quick turnaround for teams to get ready for this, it's not easy. And Chris equated it to football teams trying to match up with an Army or a Navy or an Air Force because of the uniqueness of what they do offensively. It's similar in terms of the way you defend. And like, for example, transition defense. You're getting back. You're taught to protect the lane, right? You work your defense from the inside out. You can't do that with BYU. You have to play almost from the outside in, which goes completely against your mindset, what you've been taught to do all these years of playing basketball. So that's the challenge for teams matching up with BYU, is to go against your conventional scheme, if you will, and your plan and your mindset, just because BYU, what they do is so different than everybody else.
So, Roxy, speaking of other teams' preparation and the uniqueness of preparing for BYU, BYU's got 2 very tough road games coming up, right? Kansas State. We've posed the question online to the Cougar fans everywhere, what their expectations are for the 2 road game wins, right? I think statistically, as of right now, I think everybody's got it, going 1-1, right? Losing against Kansas, beating Kansas State. What are your expectations for BYU in those 2 road game wins?
It's funny because these are the type of weekends, because you guys know I do so much Pac-12 stuff. And even, when the WCC had the travel partners when BYU was in the league, the goal was always protect your home court,
yes,
and come away with a split on the road.
Yes.
And I think that needs to be the mentality. You don't want to come home 0-2, so you got to come up with a split. And certainly the Kansas State game would be probably a little bit more favorable as far as getting a win. I'm not saying that Kansas State's not a good team, because they are.
You don't believe in miracles, Roxy?
Well, we are 44 years removed today from the Miracle on Ice. So
that's true.
But, Kansas is one of the elite teams, a legitimate threat to win the national title. I have some concerns about Kansas's depth. The frontline talent is phenomenal. But when you look at going on the road, it's not easy. And it's been tough everywhere in college basketball this year for teams to win on the road. And we've seen BYU struggle with it. For example, Mark Pope was lamenting to us about defensively how they had some slippage in the game last Saturday when they went to Stillwater and played Oklahoma State. So you need to have certainly everything buttoned up and locked in when you're going on the road. But the approach has to be different, and that's what BYU really needs to do, is focus in on, they can't even worry about Kansas. They have to worry about Kansas State first.
Roxy Bernstein on BYU Sports Nation. Okay, let's play the hypothetical game, Roxy. I know you'll do this. Some of your comrades don't want to do this. We asked Jay Billis the same question.
How dare you throw Sean Farnham under the bus like that?
We love Sean. Some have some trepidation about doing this, but okay. Joe Lunardi's been bouncing BYU back and forth between a 5 and a 6 seed. If you were to seed BYU and the NCAA tournament were starting 3 days from now, what has BYU earned as far as the seed line goes?
I think at this point, and here we are, we still have about a month until the Big 12 tournament and the rest of the season to go. I think BYU is on that 5-6 line. And I'd almost rather be a 6 than a 5, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But you can only play who's in front of you. And we all know the NCAA tournament's dictated in matchups. But they've cemented themselves in the field. And the way they play, and we talked about earlier, Spence, these tough turnarounds, it's going to be challenging. Let's say BYU wins their first game. Then you have about 48 hours to prepare for what is so different than what everybody else does in the country. That second game is going to be extremely challenging for whoever gets BYU, assuming BYU wins their first game in the tournament. But in that second round matchup, that's going to be the tough thing, is turning around, and the challenge is trying to figure out what BYU is trying to do.
Great stuff, Roxy. We'll finish with this, and we discussed this yesterday. It was shown during the broadcast that you called between BYU and Baylor. Every year that BYU has beaten at least 3 ranked teams, they have won at least 1 NCAA tournament game, which is a wild stat. So I hope you're right, and that BYU does have a second game that a team has to prepare for them on a short turnaround, because I agree with you. The Cougars are so unique that just maybe they can get past that first round game. Quick turnaround, and BYU in the Sweet 16 is, I know it sounds wild, but it feels like it's a possibility this year.
It's got a nice ring to it. It's got a nice ring to it.
It's very real. for BYU to do that. Mark Pope's probably just right now muttering to himself about us talking about this right now because every coach is worried about the task at hand.
Yes.
And Mark Pope's not even thinking about Kansas. He's thinking about Kansas State, let alone we're talking about the NCAA tournament right now.
Yeah.
But there is that unique matchup which would favor BYU in that quick turnaround. Regardless of, let's say they're a 6, they're playing 3, or in that 4-5 matchup. That's the challenge for teams, is coming back in a quick turnaround. And 48 hours to get ready for all the different sets and all the motions and all the different schemes that Mark Pope has, because as we know, he's a brilliant offensive mind. That is going to pose nightmares for assistant coaches on BYU's opponents. And they're not going to get any sleep from the time that team wins their first round game, assuming that BYU is their second round matchup.
Roxy, just so you know, as we wrap up, we've placed a phone call to your bosses at ESPN and have requested that you do more BYU basketball games. So
I have no problem with that. I had to bring home a bunch of cinnamon rolls from Shirley's. So, I stopped at the airport before I went to the airport yesterday. And, I'm rocking the BYU Sports Nation swag. So,
We love it. We love it.